All right.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in. This is Rafael Curiel, City McAllen, Employee Wellness Coach. I'm joined by DHR Dr. Llanos today, here to talk about heart health in the month of February. Hello, Dr. Llanos. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you're going to help to illuminate some of the ideas around heart health and give us some of your takes on what it is to have a healthy heart, to live that healthy lifestyle. And I'll just turn it over to you so you can let us in on some of the insights that you've had in your career and what you've experienced with your patients. And it would just be great to hear from you and all your experiences.
Absolutely. So first off, February is the Heart Health Month, and it's a month to raise awareness of heart disease, especially in women. Many of us don't know this, but heart disease is actually the #1 cause of death in women in the US. On average, 1 every 5 women are dying from heart disease, but most people are not aware of this. Most people think heart disease is only for men, and heart disease is not common in women. And that's for the last 30 years, women have had more heart deaths compared to men. So it's definitely something important to raise awareness so people can seek attention in a timely manner. Wow, and then about heart disease is basically any part of the heart can be diseased. It can be in the form of coronary artery disease, which basically is built up of calcium and cholesterol and fat within the arteries that cause a blockage. It can also be a disease of the muscle where the muscle becomes weak, and that's called heart failure. Mm-hmm. It can also be irregular heart rhythms in many ways or many forms. And specifically talking about coronary heart disease or blockages in the areas of the heart, women have the traditional risk factors as well as men of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, obesity, inactivity, so on. But women also have an extra set of risk factors that are not always identified, that are hypertension or diabetes during pregnancy, chemotherapy agents, especially breast cancer treatments. Both chemotherapy and radiation for breast cancer are known to cause heart disease. When we talked about autoimmune disease, like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, these are not unique to women, but they're a lot more frequent in women. Depression can also affect the heart, especially the heart outcomes, the mortality. So we have to count each person as an individual and not only ask about the traditional risk factors, but also ask about these additional risk factors that I just mentioned.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that can affect the heart to make it unhealthy.
Yes.
And then they end up
yes.
having to spend more time with you as far as like getting these treatments and medications and whatnot. What would be your #1 take as far as like how to keep people's hearts healthy? So even though they might have some of these risk factors or conditions, mm-hmm. and be more heart healthy.
Yes, and prevention. That's what I tell patients. Let's not wait until you have a heart attack. Let's not wait until you had a stroke to get things, under control. The moment you are diagnosed with diabetes, the moment you are diagnosed with hypertension, we should tame this with control. Medications help you a lot, and they do a lot of the work. But if we don't stay active, if we don't eat healthy, it's going to be really hard to control your risk factors. So I tell my patients, 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise a week. It's very important. The other thing is trying to eat low fat, low carbohydrates diet. Easy substitutions, doing smart substitutions instead of eating, let's say, fried chicken or the brown part of the meat. Let's try to eat the white part of the meat. Let's try to eat chicken breast, or sometimes if people like to fry things, maybe you can do it in the oven or get an air fryer. So the amount of oil that we use is less. If you're gonna eat a salad, I tell them, do not put the whole bottle of ranch on it, because ranch, the sweet dressings, all of these have a lot of calories, a lot of fat, a lot of oil on it. So trying to do your own dressing, you're a lot more aware and cognizant what you're putting on it. So, you can use balsamic vinegar, you can use lime, you can use salt, pepper, a little bit of olive oil. Those are all valid things. And, it's all about balances. So let's say you have a, big party coming this weekend, try to eat cleaner and healthier throughout the week. So yes, ideally we should all be eating like plant-based diets and no red meat and, no fat or very low carbs, but it's really hard to follow that diet, especially here in the Valley where the food is really, really good. I just found out when I moved here not too long ago, but it's all about proportions. It's all about making smart choices. It's all about instead of eating 6 tacos, just eat half of it, and then the other half you can do a fresh salad and things like that. Instead of drinking like a sweetened tea or a sweetened lemonade, try to drink the unsweetened version of this. So these small substitutions will help you prevent problems, because heart problems don't happen overnight. It's a slow build of issues that takes decades, many times to develop it.
Mm-hmm. And what percentage of, just I guess ballpark in your opinion, what percentage of those heart problems do you feel are either preventable and then reversible? Has anybody ever come to you, seeking out your medical advice, and you said, okay, we can actually rewind this?
Absolutely. About 80% or more of heart is preventable. Most people say like, oh, but nobody in my family has heart disease, so I am good. And that's usually a misconception that people have. Yes, genetics play a big role, and genetics are important in the development of heart disease, but they are not close to being the number one cause of heart disease. The number one cause of heart disease are the risk factors I've mentioned, that many of these are related to unhealthy lifestyles and sedentary life. So most of the heart disease is preventable, and it can be prevented at multiple stages. When you're younger, we can live a healthier lifestyle, so in the future we don't develop them. But even if you already had a heart attack or stroke, that doesn't mean that we cannot change our life around and our ways around. So we can prevent future events. Because I tell patients, let's say someone has a blockage in one of the arteries of the heart, and we put a stent to open it up, right? It doesn't matter how good we put the stent. If we don't control the risk factors, the stent's gonna close again. Mm-hmm. The analogy that I use with my patients is the same thing as you have your sink clogged with hair and all this type of thing, and the water is not draining. You call the plumber cleans it up, if the water is flowing. Doesn't matter how clean the plumber has the pipe, if the next day you're gonna throw a lot of hair and a lot of trash in the sink again, it's gonna close regardless of what we do if we don't control the risk factor. So many people think, oh, I already have a bypass or I have a stent, I'm set. And no, if we don't take care of those things and we don't change our lifestyles, then we are looking into having more and more issues in the future.
Very interesting. It sounds like you have so many ways of helping your patients to visualize what's going on with them.
Absolutely.
To work with them to reverse some of the damage that maybe their lifestyle has caused as far as heart disease. If a city employee wanted to work with you on their condition, feeling that they have like a heart condition, what would be a way to work with you directly as far as in that professional way?
Yes, absolutely. So it depends what is the complaint, if it's chest pain, shortness of breath, palpitations, fainting, all these things, cramping of the legs when people walk. That can also be peripheral vascular disease, which is blockages in the areas of the legs. All those things we do see at DHR cardiology. If you have to have a referral from your primary care doctor, then they can refer you to us. I'm happy to see everyone and anyone that wish to either treat their conditions or talk about prevention in order to avoid already having heart disease. And then I'm gonna see the number of my office. The number is 956-362-3888. 8490. So 956-362-8490. I'm happy to talk to everyone. I'm happy to help. I'm here to help. This is, a passion of mine, trying to, keep the heart healthy and keep the heart going. And I want my patients to be successful and to be healthy. So anything you guys need, I'm here.
Fantastic. And the reason I ask is because the tradition here on these Zoom meetings is one of the employees does hear about your message, and it really feels like our employees connect with the professional and the message, and they say, I want to work with that person. And so they always contact me, say, okay, how do I get a hold of this person? You just gave a great dynamic.
Absolutely.
You got the answer to what I've been looking for. How do I contact them? And sometimes I don't have the answer. So I always like to ask, how would an employee or anybody watching this, because we might later on edit it down and deliver it to our Facebook page, City McAllen Wellness, and so they can get this awesome message as well, because I think it's very insightful the way that you speak about how to take care of the heart by thinking about the whole body, as everybody's health, but then also mental, the depression, like you said, and
absolutely
that can affect it. So thank you so much for being on. Did I have any comments or anything from Miss Elizabeth Herrera? Thanks for joining us. Or Miss Bustos, thank you for being on. Any ideas or any questions for Dr. Llanos right now at this time?
So can you hear me, Rafael?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so so being that it's February and it's Women's Heart Health Month, I think that was the topic. I know that exercise and Dr. Llanos mentions exercise, knowing your numbers as far as your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and things like that. It's very important. And of course, we know that women and men, and there's a difference between the signs and symptoms of a heart attack. It's the so-called silent killer.
Yes. So sometimes men and women can present differently, especially when we talked about heart attacks, chest pain or chest discomfort, chest tightness, or uncomfortable feeling the chest. Sometimes people tell me, I don't have pain. I only have tightness or squeezing. So chest discomfort or pain is the #1 symptom, but women also have a lot of other symptoms associated with this. Sometimes it's upper back pain, sometimes it's shortness of breath, sometimes it's dizziness, sometimes it's nausea, vomiting, cold sweat. So just like tremendous amount of fatigue. It has to have a lot of suspicion. It's not uncommon where women come complaining of something like upper back pain or like neck tightness, and then end up being a heart attack. So obviously, if you have the risk factors and you have a new symptom that it's severe enough to bring it to the emergency room, we should definitely make sure that this is not a heart attack.
Okay, Dr. Llanos, I don't know if you mentioned, since I came in late, you mentioned last time on one of the talks, you said something about the importance of the HDL and the LDL cholesterol.
Yeah, we didn't go this in depth here, but basically the cholesterol, we like the cholesterol in general to be low, but when we talked about cholesterol, there's 2 types of cholesterol. The good cholesterol, which is the HDL, and H we like to be high because that's a protective cholesterol, and the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, L for low. It's kind of an easy way to remember. The LDL, we want it low, and then the HDL, we like it high. And those are the ways that we prevent coronary disease. Triglycerides, we like to be low. Blood pressure control is important. Weight loss is important to achieve a weight that it's not in the overweight or obesity range. Obviously, smoking cessation, activity like you mentioned as well. So those are like, that's when it's about know your numbers, know what is your A1C for your diabetes, know how much is your blood pressure, know how much is your cholesterol, so we can work on each of these different things separately.
Dr. Llanos, really quick, I'm going to ask you something. You're sitting down on your chair, which many of the employees, they work sitting. I know that you are
I'm always on the go. This is a
always
few times
standing, sitting, squatting, or
this is a
you're
few
doing
times I get
something,
to
running
sit
around.
down.
You're real busy. But yes, but for the employees that are sitting, what since you're already in that position, what like simple exercise can, like maybe two exercises that you can say, maybe circled in around the arms, twist side to side or down. What do you
Yeah, so it depends each person how they find their symptoms active, but especially for people that have desk jobs 8 to 5, put in a little alarm and maybe like every couple hours, put a reminder that to walk around. Put a little post-it maybe in your computer that says walk around, so maybe you can walk around your office if it's big enough, or like around the hallways if it's a high school, or like the parking lot, and try to have like a bit of walking around. If you have the ability to have like those desks that adjust between standing and sitting, that's also helpful. So you're also kind of working on your feet a little bit. In different ways, let's say you work in a place that has stairs, instead of taking the elevator, taking the stairs, it's also helpful. Instead of parking, when you drive to places, including work, instead of parking right next to the door, you can like almost like forcefully try to park a little bit farther. So you force yourself walking back and forth your car to walk a little bit more than what we usually used to do if we will park just next to the entrance. So these little things to try to remain active, kind of like some people buy these little bike pedals that they put under their desk to see if they can pedal while they work, but that requires a certain degree of like coordination that some of us don't have it. So anything that you can do to remain active, it's always helpful.
Okay.
I had a quick question I wanted to piggyback off. Standing desk. I have one and I swear by it. But to be honest, I don't really have any science that backs that up. It's just my preference. But I'm curious if you know of any where it is actually that beneficial to have a standing desk versus a traditional sitting.
It's not about the standing desk per se. It's the fact that sedentarism, being sitting all day, it's known to affect your heart health. So even like standing at least 12 hours a day, it's ideal. I mean, not 12 hours, but at least 10 minutes per hour for 12 hours is ideal. And, so it's not like there's been a trial or a study that standing desk is better than sitting, but we know that sedentarism, sitting and just moving the arms, or like, it's not enough. It's not enough activity. We're meant to be, mobiles, we're meant to be walking or standing or doing things. So, and it also helps with the back. I have a lot of people in my team spend a lot of time sitting and working on the phone, and at the end of the day they have a lot of lower back pain because of the position. The computers kind of like force us to be in a certain way, and a lot of neck pain, back pain. So standing also helps with your posture and musculoskeletal pain and problems that people may develop.
Very cool. Thank you. So
awesome.
So interactive, and thank you so much for taking the time, Dr. Llanos, because I know you're super
thank you for
busy,
having me.
as doctors are these days, and even before the pandemic. So that you were able to show up and give us even some awesome insights is just like awesome on top of awesome. So thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us, Ms. Bustos. Thank you.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invite. I'm looking forward to working with you all in the future.
All right, great. Yes. And I'll share your info, and definitely hope to have you back again soon on another great topic. Bye, everybody.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Llanos. Bye-bye.